Hey guys, Marsegid here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are finally getting around to showcasing the absolute awesome power of the latest free-to-play LR EZA on Global. This came out with the most recent Battlefield reset. So this is like a week ago, right? Because we've got the reset again today. I think Toon posted a screenshot of the stats, I think from Dokkan Info. But yeah, they did actually tune up the They did actually tune up the Battlefield from the previous attempts. All the bosses have more HP and hit slightly harder. I did notice that it was taking longer to kill some of the bosses, so that's interesting. But yeah, you can get the medals from the Battlefield shop for the Battlefield memories to EZA, Mecha Frieza, and King Cold. So these guys post EZA are a Wicked Bloodline leader for 4 key and 130 to stats. Their super attacks, the 12 key raise attack and defense for 1 turn, colossal damage lowers attack. The 18 key is raise defense for 1 turn, mega colossal damage, and then raises extreme class allies attack by 35% for 2 turns. So that is a really good super attack effect, because obviously if you wanted to use them as a floating like slot 3 unit, they're buffing the attack of the next rotation, which could be quite good. Then when we take a look at their passive, key 2 attack and defense 120, additional attack and defense 30% per Wicked Bloodline ally on the team, up to 90%. Now I believe because it doesn't say like other ally, it does include them, so you need 2 other Wicked Bloodline allies on a team with them for them to get their full buff. Then they get an additional 30% defense when attacking. Wicked Bloodline allies key 1 attack 30%, and then additional 1 key and 50% defense for all allies when allies attacking in the same turn are Wicked Bloodline. So this is the thing, right? You can get their full passive buff if you're only running 2 other Wicked Bloodline characters, but to get their defense support, which is arguably very important as well, you do need to have a full Wicked Bloodline rotation. So the more Wicked Bloodline units on the team, obviously the better, and then they're giving 2 key, 30% attack and 50% support well, actually Wicked Bloodline allies get the 1 key 30% attack. All allies get the 1 key 50% defense when the rotation is Wicked Bloodline, which I guess then they're always just going to Wicked Bloodline characters anyway, isn't it? Additional key 9 and launch an additional super when there is a Super Saiyans category enemy. So I guess that is interesting, because a guaranteed additional super means they'll be getting this extra 30% defense raise. But sadly on Global, because we haven't had any of the anniversary content come out yet where you fight a bunch of new like super class enemies, we don't really have any relevant events where you're going to be able to do that. So we'll take a look at them. I gave them some very basic skill orbs, like just to give them some extra dodge. I wasn't going to use premium skill orbs on them. They got a bit of additional, bit of crit, and obviously our full level 10 links. So we're running the Wicked Bloodline team. Their only 200% lead is Metal Cooler, who is another unit that's kind of aged out now, so that gives you a good indication of how relevant these guys are in the current meta, right? But we'll give them a chance. We'll see how we go. So they're at 270k defense start of turn. Remember, they are going to get 30% when attacking, so they go up to what, around 350. Then they raise defense on their super attack, which is another 30%. So we're looking at maybe like 450k defense on a turn where they only super attack once. And considering they don't have any other defensive tech, then that's not particularly crazy. But let's see how they get on here. So Golden Frieza, of course, going to tank in slot 1. I deliberately didn't get him an 18 key super because I didn't want him to hit too hard. But we'll see what the what Frieza and King Cold are able to give us here for this first turn. We do have support from the Cooliza in slot 3, supports Fusion or Wicked Bloodline. 6.1. I mean, I guess the way you have to look at it is they are a support unit, right? So if you were going to run them on a team, then they're additional for 4.2. So that's what, like 10.3 in total. I mean, that's not the worst for a support unit, because remember, that is their main thing. If you were going to run them on a Wicked Bloodline team, obviously we're running them here in sort of a showcase setting, so I want to keep them on rotation, but you'd be floating them off in slot 3. And then remember, now that they've supered at the end of that last turn, we now have all allies on this turn, or extreme allies, have an extra 35% attack. So we're going to be able to hit pretty hard on this turn. I mean, STR Cooler should just kill, but LR Cool, nah, LR Metal Cooler. I liked LR Metal Cooler. I really enjoyed him when he first came out. I got super lucky for both the Wicked Bloodline units though on the Worldwide Celebration. Like I rainbowed STR Cooler and Metal Cooler, which I don't usually ever rainbow units on their first banner, but I just got so lucky with my summons. But yeah, Metal Cooler, I always liked him, but he did certainly age out a bit quicker. It is a shame that his revive only works for him, which it can be good or bad, because if you get immediately one shot, then it's cool, because there's no HP restriction. But back then when that was sort of like the difficult content, it meant in events like, for example, Red Zone Broly, if you took an AoE and Metal Cooler survived with like 1 HP, then the next person on the rotation got killed by the AoE and then he didn't revive. So it was a bit awkward. And speaking of awkward, strongest clan in space, legendary power, universe most malevolent, thirst for conquest. So that's 20% attack, and that is defense and 2 key. Because yeah, look, we were at 12 key to start the turn, but we can't get their 18 key super, which is, I say, a bit awkward. Close. So against a Super Saiyan ally, they are Super Saiyan enemy. They're basically going to be guaranteed the 18 key super because they get 9 extra key. But in other situations, not so much. So Frieza with the double super. I think the only support unit we have on the team is the Cool EZA, so we're not going to get to see like a crazy turn of support for them. I'm trying to think in terms of like future buffs. Like Wicked Bloodline obviously has that new Frieza coming out on JP, but I mean, from the numbers that we've seen from these guys, like these guys are not going to keep up with the anniversary meta, so you're not going to be running them on Frieza's team. If they're even on his leader skill, I forget what the new Frieza's lead is. But if they're taking 240k from a super from Limit Breaker Second Form Cell, look at old global exclusive Limit Breaker Second Form Cell. If they're taking 240k from a super from him, then you know that they're just getting absolutely destroyed by anniversary content. So yeah, now I mean this turn we didn't get the 18 key either. That's the problem. Like if you're running them as a unit on the team to give support to the allies for the rotation, that's cool. But then you also ideally want to be getting that multi-turn support so that they're having the allies' attacks buffed on the next turn. But we weren't able to get the 18 key, so we didn't get that. So we don't have that attack buff on this rotation. So I miss the days when this STR cooler was still a god. Like when his EZA came out, he was so good. That cooler worldwide, that was such a great celebration. It's a shame STR cooler is kind of aged out now as well. I mean, even like to be fair, like on release in the most difficult content, if you didn't get lucky with the additional supers, or at least if you got really unlucky, you just got like no additional supers, he would take a lot of damage. But like his team was one of the first teams that I no-itemed the Cell Max event with, just because like this guy could absolutely go crazy with the damage. Yeah, he was so great. He was probably my favorite unit in the game when he came out. The LR Frieza, LR Cooler. Oh, come on. Survive with 1 HP. Alright, well. But yeah, with no support, we're looking at 216, and then that's 249. What's the difference? Thirst for Conquest, strongest clan in space. Okay, so yeah, Universe Most Malevolent is 20% attack, but Thirst for Conquest is attack and defense 15%. So actually, can we do... Will this drop down the tech orbs? Actually, it doesn't matter, because if we don't put them in slot 1, they don't kill. But yeah, with no support, 250k, which is a bit of a yikes, because like 30%, again, 30% on super, that's going to be like 80k extra. And then 30% from their super attack effect. Like, they'll barely be getting over 400k, or like 450 on this turn. Giving them some kind of stacking or something would have been quite nice, I think, but... Because like their support is okay. It's like 30% attack, 50% defense, and 2 key. Like, that's not bad. Let's float off this cooler here. Yeah, like their support's definitely useful. The multi-turn support on attack is cool. But just everything else about them, right? Like the rest of their stats are too low. Like raw defense, I'm talking. Like post super, their raw defense is too low. And then they don't have any other defensive tech at all. Some sort of like built-in chance to dodge would have been nice. You know, obviously there's the classics, right? People want every EZA to have like guard and damage reduction. But considering how difficult bosses are getting now, like we talked about this on the Slot 1 Super podcast on the last episode. We talked about it on the episode with Truth a little bit as well when we were talking about the anniversary content. But like bosses hit so hard now that characters like this, you just can't, like you just can't run them in the anniversary level content. Like normal attacks from some of the big bosses in the blue zone, especially because remember super does more damage to extreme as well, so like post super as well for some of these big bosses, these guys will be getting absolutely shredded by like normal attacks, which is kind of crazy. Now obviously for JP this unit came out I don't even know exactly when it was, but quite a while before this. But you know, even for global, we were talking about before we jumped into the showcase, like they're not going to be good against Fusion Zamasu because they're not going to be good against AoEs, right? Their start of turn defense is 250k, so they're going to be taking like 250k-ish from his... Oh, nice. Well, there you go. The Wicked Bloodline team in 2024 not being able to beat Red Zone Cell. Well, there you go. I don't really know what else to say. We'll get the unit information back up here, but... yeah, like these guys just will not be doing very well. I'm trying to think of again like the Wicked Bloodline buffs. You got the new Frieza coming out. You got the Int Frieza on JP that came out as Broly's side banner unit is really good. But the problem with him as well is he requires super bosses allies, which of course these guys aren't. Where's Frieza? What is his leader skill? The new AGL Frieza on JP. Planetary Destruction or Space Traveling Warriors. Do you want to guess 2 categories that these guys aren't on? So they're not going to be on the leader skill for the new Frieza. So they support Wicked Bloodline. They're not on the new Wicked Bloodline characters team. They won't work with Int Golden Frieza because they're not a Super Boss's character. Also, yeah, shout out to our friend Jake. One of his biggest pet peeves. We all know how Dokkan likes to mess up categories. But there's Frieza and King Cold's spaceship that they travelled through space to get to Earth to fight the Z Fighters. But they're not on Space Travelling Warriors. You know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of Mecha Frieza and King Cold. I thought it was a cool card, like when they released it, like as a, you know, at least as a concept. But sadly, their EZA, I mean, it's just come to global, but it's already just not really useful in any of the current difficult content for global. Not going to be useful for the anniversary content, which is a shame. I mean, like a Wicked Bloodline team for Battlefield or something be fun, but yeah, that's it for them, unfortunately. So I guess we wait like 3 years or so till they get EZA 2. But there you go. Let me know what you guys think down below. Did you even bother to EZA them? Some of the Battlefield EZAs I don't think are even necessarily worth it. And sadly, I feel like these guys probably fall into that category. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.